You know that system that used to be in Overwatch 1 that would show you precisely where your rank is and it would update after every game? Well, it looks like Blizzard are now deciding on whether they should bring this back to the game. This is insane. Let's just go through this because, I mean, it wouldn't be Overwatch 2 news if it wasn't some system that was being brought back from Overwatch 1. But before we get into that, I want to show you guys this because this makes no sense at all. Absolutely zero sense. Look at this. So this is it's the hero page on the Overwatch website. Now, you can click on heroes, like let's click on Illari. Look at this. It now includes their age. So age 18, and she was born December the 22nd. Cool. And there's one problem. There's one problem with this. And you knew it was cool. Because, I mean, this has got to be said. Overwatch has got such incredibly complex lore that I'm sure the team of writers couldn't possibly work out any of these kinks when it comes down to the various ages of the heroes and the way they've interacted with each other in lore that's already available. Anyway, that's all besides the point. So let's move on. So I want to show you guys this. I want to show you guys Kiriko's age because she's 21. Now, remember that, 21. Remember that. Because if we go over here, you'll see this image on Reddit. Now, this was posted by Kiura9105. Look at this. Look at the age. So, Hanzo is 25. Genji is 21. And this obviously is, of course, based off this. So, obviously, if I go and show you Hanzo, you'll see that he's 40, right? Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem, right? Kiriko's 5 in this image. Now, this image is from the origin story of Kiriko, where her mother trains Kiriko and the Shimada brothers together because they were, children together. Only there's a problem, because unless Kiriko was highly advanced for her age, I don't think a 5-year-old would be training with a 25-year-old. And there are other images of this as well. It's just comical. Honestly, it's comical at this point. What are you doing, Blizzard? These are like little mistakes. I know it's only little, and it doesn't really matter, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. But come on, if you're trying to build a believable world, let's try and build a believable world. Anyway, let's get stuck into this because this is going to be quite interesting. So what this is the director's take look into the future of competitive Overwatch. Now, let's get stuck into this. Hello, everyone. We've seen a lot of conversations around competitive in Overwatch lately, and I'd like to take most of this week's director's take to address it. But first, let's have a quick hero update. We made several changes to Illari when she was first enabled for ranked. Most notably, the healing for her pylon was reduced, and her ultimate projectile size was decreased while it no longer pierces barriers. The pylon's nerfs effectively equalized the healing between her pylon and solar rifle. Pre-nerf, the healing pylon accounted for 62% of her healing. Now that number is 55%. This charge also brings her more in line with other damage forward supports, whereas before she was outputting healing numbers close to Lifeweaver and Mercy. We're happy with those latest changes and the additional changes made to Captive Sun. We'll continue to monitor her damage output and see if anything needs addressing next season. And additionally, we're looking at Roadhog's underperformance and targeting his rework for the mid-season update in Season 7. So, yeah, okay. They've nerfed Illari. They're happy with where the healing is now. Fair enough. Roadhog, though, I guess is the takeaway from this section, is going to get his rework mid-Season 7. So, just make him a DPS. Honestly, Blizzard, at this point, just make him a DPS. He's not a tank. He's never going to work as a tank. Just make him a DPS. Right, let's go. but reduce his health and his size. You can't really reduce the size of Roadhog, though, can you? That's the problem. You want this massive guy, so he's got to be a tank? I don't know. I really don't know. Also, hilariously, do you want to know how old Roadhog is? Does anybody know? Take a guess before I click on this. He's 50. Roadhog is 50. What in the world? Anyway, let's carry on. So, over the past few weeks, more and more people have been talking about competitive. Well, I've got news for you. People have been talking about the state of competitive in Overwatch 2 since October of last year. This isn't a new thing, but whatever. Conversations really started to trend following a video from SK. I'd like to join in on the conversation. I agree with a lot of what has been said, and I want to share a glimpse into what the development team is thinking and the direction that we're likely to go with competitive in the future. The team has been working on changes to our competitive mode for some time, but moderate to major changes to the mode won't find their way into the game until sometime down the road. So come back next year, basically. Middle of next year to late next year, I'd imagine. I won't be able to address every issue that people are discussing in this piece, but I would like to address some of the major ones. We'll share more details on specifics as we get closer to releasing the changes. Changes? What? Changes? Okay. Maybe that's gone over my head. Maybe it's just terrible copyright. I don't know. Let's carry on. Some feedback we've heard about the current system is that you're not pleased with how much information about the match and your progress is hidden from you. Yes, well, you see, Blizzard, when it's a competitive game mode, players like granular information. I mean, hell, people even moan about getting the specific stats, the figures for each of the abilities in the game on the F1 screen when you can see the help and the abilities for each hero when you're playing them. Obviously, it's F1 on PC. I don't know what it is on console. So, of course, they're not going to be happy, are they, if you hide information away because of toxicity or whatever other reason that you decide to go for, or playability. I don't even know why. I literally don't know. I don't even know who approved the Overwatch 2 competitive changes because they are so horrifically bad. It's just comical, but whatever. Let's move on and see what they're gonna do about this. We understand you want to know how the system works, especially regarding how your rating goes up, down, or even changes at all when you get a competitive update, along with trying to figure out how fair a match is at the start of a game. For instance, we've seen players go 5-2 and be demoted in the next competitive update. Always feels great, I'm sure. Good God. Many of the reports investigated so far have occurred due to MMR decay. For instance, if you typically pick DPS and go a significant amount of time between playing other roles, then MMR decay could kick in between updates for lesser played roles. Since decay is tracked per role, this could pull your rating down far enough to cause the demotion. When players see this happen, they would justifiably assume there was an issue with the system, because there is, and he's just admitted that. It's crazy. Many of the changes that come with our competitive 2.0 update were based on values centered around pulling frustrating moments out of the experience, but came at the cost of obscuring other information. Now, let's go on the internet for 5 seconds, right? Let's imagine we're Blizzard, and let's imagine we've made this update system. And originally, what was it, 7? Was it 7? I don't know, it might have been 10. Was it 10 games originally? I can't remember. Whatever the competitive update was at the beginning. So you play a game, you lose. It doesn't matter because it doesn't show you anything after the game. It's like, uh-oh, we've lost. Oh, dear. You win. Now it shows you a little tick and you've got a little bit of progress. Hey, this is really good. You play again. Oh, I've lost. Oh, I've lost again. It doesn't matter. We don't see this. And then eventually you get to 10. But guess what? You may have lost 20 games. Or, well, actually, I don't know what the rank update, but whatever. This is just an example. Take it as is. Pinch of salt. But you complete 10 games. You win 10 games, I should say. You don't go up in rank. Now, think about that from a design perspective. And like I said, go on the internet for literally 2 seconds after this update literally went live. Players were like, this does not feel great. So then this makes me feel, what is actually going on at Blizzard where they go for all the internal testing and go, this is a great system. It'll be fine. You know, when players get to that crescendo, that moment of completing the required amount of games to get a competitive update, and we rank them down. They'll feel great, won't they, guys? And they'll play more No, they won't. It is the most pathetic crap ever, and it is unbelievable. It is just unbelievable. Anyway, we could go on and then say, well, they learned a little bit from this because then they reduced it to 5. You only need 5 games to get the competitive update. Okay, but still the same problem persists. The only way to remedy this, as you'll see in a second in the next paragraph, is to basically do updates, well, after every game. Which, guess what? Guess what other game used to do updates after every other game? And another way of solving this would be to show SR after every game. What other game used to do it? It's crazy. The more you get stuck into Overwatch, the more you lose your mind. Take it from me. Okay, let's carry on. Where even was I? Oh, yeah, okay, so I've read that section. This bit. Going forward, we're shifting our values to provide more transparency to the mode. This doesn't necessarily mean that the older skill rating measurement is or isn't coming back. As we continue to iterate on the possibilities, we very much appreciate your continued feedback. We don't want your continued feedback. Stop spamming us. We want you to have a better understanding of what your true rank is and why wins and losses cause it to move up or down based on the general skill of all players in a match. Additionally, we understand the way we track progress can cause losses to feel more frustrating. And this is a way we've tracked progress since October of last year. We've just reduced the amount of games required for a rank update. Yes. Anyway, currently, the system will provide a rank update after every 5 wins or 15 losses. After each win, progress is shown on a screen during the end of round flow. But losses are not, because that would be bad, and people don't want to feel bad. No, we want to feel great. When the game doesn't acknowledge the loss, it can feel as though the whole match was a waste of time. Yes. We're making changes so that the system will contribute your progress towards a rank update after every match, whether you win or lose, so that no match feels like a complete waste of time. So how will this manifest itself, I thought? Well, there was me thinking, I see. They bring SR back, they call it something different, and then after every game, it goes up or down. And I'm like, well, I've seen this before. This is Overwatch 1. But then I thought, no, they're on their high horse is so incredibly high at Blizzard. That will not happen. What they'll do instead is they'll be like, right, we're going to keep the 5 rank updates, but now we're going to factor in, we're just going to do a rank update after every 5 games. It doesn't matter if you win them or you lose them. So we still got that little stupid progress going after the game, but then, well, look, you've lost 3 games and you've won 2. So if you go down a rank after your rank update, well, that's fair enough. You've lost more than you've won. But this is still going to have the same issue, isn't it? Where there's going to be people who win 4, maybe lose 1, and then they go down in rank for other reasons, some of which were outlined in this blog. So guess what? Where do we end up as the better system? That's right, a rank update after every game. Like basically every other game does. That claims to be competitive. It's crazy. But none of that has been explicitly said, has it, in this passage? But like I said, don't expect it to come back in that form. Anyway, we're also talking about the top 500 leaderboards and some of the unique issues for that experience. If you are in the top 500, you are among the most competitive players in the community. And we think that there are additional needs and issues than the rest of the community. One example of a unique problem is the difficulty of climbing the top 500 leaderboards later in the season versus playing earlier in the season when it's easier to place higher. They also have more issues with queue time, grouping with friends, and finding fair matches when the spectrum of skill in this group can still be fairly substantial. We also believe that top 500 experience is more full-featured experience than how other players interact with competitive. Competing with and passing over players on the ladder make the top 500 leaderboard exciting. It's not something that most players get to experience. Well, imagine if they did, Blizzard, and you showed ranks for everyone in the divisions you already put them in. I mean, you tell us, oh, you're ranked 95% higher than people in a division. It would be nice to just see this information, wouldn't it? I don't know, but whatever, top 500, this is what he's talking about, not the rest of the ladder. It is something that most players don't get to experience. Eventually, we love to find a way for players of other ranks to have an experience in climbing the rank. Okay, so he's saying that. Okay, I'll take back what I said. Take what I said. In an experience in climbing the ranks that feels more granular than just moving in and out of skill tiers. This is a long-term goal, and it's something we're just thinking about right now. So it's years away. Crazy. And then we get the standard bit of PR crap at the bottom. We all love you guys, and everyone's the best. Overwatch 2 is evolving and growing. Bacteria grows and evolves, doesn't it? I can't say that's too harsh. No, that's too harsh. We'd like for it to be doing that in a way that is exciting for players and in a direction that they would like. One of the best ways to accomplish this is to have a healthy dialogue between players and developers. Some of these competitive changes will be made in the short term, like how we treat MMR decay, but other issues will be handled with broader changes coming earlier next year. Ultimately, we are aiming to make the system more transparent, add more frequent reporting, open up some of our restrictions for grouping at higher skill tiers, and look into introduce new competitive rewards. Let's keep the conversation going. Okay, so new comp rewards. You're probably going to be able to group in a wider range or with more players at higher ranks. I suppose that'll be great for streamers and stuff like that. Yeah, good stuff, right? But this is funny. So one of the best ways to accomplish this is have a healthy dialogue between players and developers. Look at this, right? Look at this. Now, I found this. I've got a cough. So I found this, right, unintentionally earlier on in the day. Now, this is Overwatch Cavalry, and they tweeted that the shot was down at some point. I don't know. I've not really been paying attention. But this obviously is pretty funny. So this individual says, Stylosa about to make a 30-minute video. That's funny. That made me laugh. I was like, okay, cool. But then I see this, and it's like, hang on, what's this little stupid laughy face? It's the executive producer. It's the vice president of Overwatch 2. And I'm like, that's a bit sad, ain't it? Like that kind of comment there. You know, I'm sure he enjoys all the videos I've been making highlighting the issues with the game, right? Anyway, like I said, one of the best ways to accomplish is to have a healthy dialogue between players and developers. I will admit, it did make me laugh. Anyway, the reason why I was on that Twitter page was because, or X, whatever the hell this website's called now, is because of this. So there's a tweet from Mike Ibarra, the president of Blizzard, and he says, great Play Overwatch reviews over the last 2 weeks. Some exciting plans as we think about the future. Glad we have O'Reilly Jared leading the way. To which then he's like, thanks, boss. Thanks. No further information. Literally pointless tweets, but whatever. Anyway, I included that because that's where this came from, which I thought was funny. Anyway, so let's move on to, well, I guess that's it. There isn't really anything to move on to. We could actually talk about the, there is the new hero mode in the game. Now, I didn't make any videos on this, but I was kind of pissed because I made a really nice video around the NDA drop for Invasion. But Blizzard then said we couldn't upload any of the stuff with the hero modes. Now, I had a really good one for Tracer, and there was quite a funny one for Mercy, and I think they were pretty good videos, but at this point, everyone's already seen everything from those anyway, so go out there and play the Hero Mastery. I think, actually, it is kind of like I think it's like the dark horse of this update. I think it's more interesting than it's definitely more interesting than the gameplay you get in the PvE, which is laughable. It's, I think, more interesting than the Underworld stuff, because that is boring, although that's more interesting than the story mode missions, but again, they're kind of not great. But yeah, the Hero Mastery is actually kind of like a bit of a dark horse, so go and check it out. That's it, I think, at the moment. There's some stuff going on with Overwatch League. I can't really be bothered to cover that at the moment because we don't really know where that's going. But yeah, that's the news. That's the big Overwatch news of the moment. It looks like we're going into a world where Blizzard are very slowly regressing back to the old system we had in Overwatch 1. And like, I don't know, like obviously that was a system that worked. There's pros and cons for both systems when it comes to competitive. I think getting an update after every game does make sense. I think showing granular stats makes a ton of sense. The fact that they removed all of this out of Overwatch 2 was just standard Blizzard. They don't want you to feel bad. They want everybody to win. That's not the case in competitive. People have to lose, and that's fine. The way you get better in Overwatch is to minimize, it's like I always said, you have to get value, don't you, if anybody remembers this at this point. But you need to like minimize your mistakes, and then generally you'll win more games. It's about keeping that win rate above 50%, and you'll just go up the ranks. That's it. And the way you do that is by minimizing your mistakes, reviewing your replays, and keeping up to speed with the buffs and the nerfs to the various heroes that you play, team comps, and all of that stuff. It's a very complicated game, Overwatch. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I will catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.